Excited about a couple more guys that we're adding to this recruiting class, and guys that we feel really strongly about. Parker, dynamic playmaker as a quarterback, had a great senior year, led his team deep in the playoffs, has the ability to throw the football, good athleticism as well to give you the ability to use him in the run game with his feet, and smart kid that I think really fits the culture of what we're trying to continue to build and add to our locker room, which is a really good culture right now as well. And then Zach, a tight end that, as a high school kid, played wide receiver, grew in and matured into his frame, has the ability to do multiple things, play out in space, play in the box, use him in the run game, but also use him as a pass receiver and a weapon there. I think he had close to 600 yards receiving this past year. So excited about the addition of those two kids.
Coach, now that you've been through the early signing period for, I guess, your third year, is that good or bad for your program, and how does that kind of change the recruiting calendar for you guys?
It is what it is. I think it's, each year more and more kids have signed in the early signing period, and I felt really good about the kids that we were able to sign. I think, the way we handle recruiting, our coaches being in our area so much, we have a really good read on not just what you see on tape, but the things that ultimately matter the most and determine the kid's flight inside of your program. Who and what is his makeup, how important is football to him, how's he going to handle himself off the field, what type of leadership skills does he have, and are we going to be able to continue to develop those things. And it's important for us that we have great talent. Obviously, we see that and recognize in recruiting, but I think those characteristics and traits are extremely important to continue to add and have a championship culture inside of your locker room.
How important was it to add another quarterback to the quarterback room this year?
It was important for us as we got into late December and January with where the quarterback room was at, the number of kids that we had in it. That's changed a little bit, but it was important for us to always add a great player at that position, a smart young man that has great work habits, athletically, has all the tools to do everything that we want him to do inside of our offense. Kid that cares greatly about being exceptional, works at it every single day, and those are all traits that you have to have inside of the quarterback room. I think in every position room, your greatest friend as a coach and what you need inside of your program is competition. It's going to drive your kids every day.
Coach, tell us more about Coach Golish, what he brought to this recruiting process and what he brings to your offense.
Yeah, just a guy that fits the culture of our coaching staff. He's a fierce competitor, but does a great job of developing relationships with kids, mentoring them and teaching them, life through the game of football, but investing in them. And a guy that has, doesn't have a ton of travel in his tenure as a full-time coach. He tries to invest inside of the program. Offensively, what they do, there's some things that he can add to what we're doing that we're excited about. But his makeup is as important as anything, and excited to have him in the room.
Coach, knowing how many guys sign early and the fact you needed a quarterback late, just kind of talk about the process of finding Parker and how excited you were to find a guy of that talent still available.
Yeah, someone that we caught in the middle of December, just had watched his video and got a chance to watch an initial highlight tape. Then you go back through, study all of his runs, his scrambles, but all of his throws as well, and particularly the last half of the season. Great team leader, great leadership traits, pushes his team deep in the playoffs. A guy that I think's got a lot of winning characteristics and traits, extremely confident in who he is, came here on his official visit, blended extremely well with the guys that we have inside of our program. And, so just that process unfolds. It goes into dead period. You're getting ready for a bowl game. The first time we were able to get to him and go see him was really, I think, maybe the beginning of the third week of January, and developed a relationship with him over the phone. But an opportunity for Coach Golish and Joey Halsey to go see him in early January, came out on his official visit, and then I was able to get out and see him the last week of January. So, it's the early signing period, right? There's a small group of guys left, and excited about what we found in him.
Coach, we saw, you mentioned the quarterback room, Mackenzie Milton put out the news. How do you approach that as the coach side of still some hurdles to clear and all of that?
The first thing you take is just as a human being, man, so excited for him and just seeing him, you get the news, you're able to talk to him over the phone. He comes back from the visit. The next day, you see him in the training room. He's doing squat jumps. Like those hurdles, those are phenomenal. You know, a couple of days ago, he's changing out his brace from one that's a little bit restrictive to one that gives him full functional movement to do everything that he would want to do. And those are great moments in the mountains that he's had to climb from where this whole thing started. And I don't think any of us can appreciate how far he actually has come, and you know, the mental toughness it takes, the physical toughness too, but the mental toughness to just get up and fight every day. And he's still got a long ways to go. He knows that, but he's got great joy. It's kind of like, you know, pushing a snowball uphill, right? You get to the top of it, and all of a sudden you push it downhill, and it's starting to pick up speed. He's really excited about where he's at and where he's got an opportunity to go.
Coach, what went into the decision to promote Joey to quarterbacks coach?
Known Joey for a long time. Guy that played with me. He's been with me 10 out of the last 12 years coaching. Does a phenomenal job with the quarterback position. He's played the position. I think that's an added benefit. He knows what it feels and what it looks like to be there in the pocket. As good as anybody I've ever been around, just fundamentally. I think he's got an opportunity to help the guys in that room really develop and hone their skills fundamentally and put their bodies in the best position to be as successful as they can with each and every play, and their eyes included. So a guy that I trust. He's a great relationship guy. Had great relationships with the guys in the room this past year, and will do a fantastic job. He's a winner too. You know, I think that was extremely important. He's going to go about his business the right way and compete the right way.
Coach, you added Marcus Tatum at the beginning of the semester, grad transfer, offensive tackle from Tennessee. But being that you lose a guy like Jake Brown, are you hoping a guy like Marcus can come in and shore up one of those tackle spots?
Want him to come in and compete and go earn the job, absolutely. But feel the same way about the guys that we have in the room. I feel really confident about the depth of our offensive line position group. You know, 2 years ago, obviously went out and signed a couple of junior college kids early because I felt like we were short when we first got here, just in the depth at that position. I feel like each and every class we've added the type of body and skill set and mentality that we want to have and play with up front. And I think we got great depth, but certainly want and expect him to come in here and compete and try to go take a job.
Coach, what is Quadri Jones' status on this roster? Is he officially back on the team?
He is back with us on the roster.
Talk about what that means and what it took to really get him back here.
At the end of the day, I think, you know, whenever you start a young quarterback, I think it's tough for the guys inside of the room because it's a position where typically one guy plays. And you know, I think in the last half of the season, you know, he kind of wondered, you know, what's my future and how do I fit and where do I belong? And you know, went out and, you know, looked around at other places. At the end of the day, I think he feels really strongly about the players that are inside of the locker room with him, the coaching staff that's going to invest in him on the field, in the meeting room, but ultimately, you know, for the rest of his life too, and a group of men that are going to be mentors to him, the opportunity to get a great education. I think you combine all of those things. He felt like this was home and this is the best place for him, and you know, our players respect who and what he is and how he's handled himself since he's been here, and we did as a coaching staff as well.
Would you talk a little bit more about Zach, and have you used the tight end in your offense the way you hope to?
I think we've been different from year to year. You know, Coops comes back in year 6. His skill set is a little bit different than what we played with last year, and in the middle of the year, you know, Jake gets a little bit nicked up, and so you don't have the ability to use him in the ways that, in every way imaginable at the tight end position. But Jake played championship caliber football all year long too, and I think Zach continues to add diversity in the position group and guys that have more skill sets and prove that they're going to play at a championship level. Then it's our job as coaches to find a way to get them on the football field and help us go win.
You mentioned Marcus, adding Marcus from as a transfer portal player. Do you envision maybe utilizing the transfer portal a little bit more before the season, before you get into the offseason?
Before this coming season?
Yeah.
I don't know. We got a great roster. We got great talent, but I think at the same time, you know, as a program, you're always looking for the right fit, and if you can add talent and competition, then you do those things.
Coach, I know you had, 8 or 9 guys, I think, enroll in January.
I was just looking at it.
How many? Something like
I'd
that?
say 8 guys,
8.
Nine guys with Marcus.
Yeah, so what are the early returns on those guys? I know they're going through workouts for the first time. So early report on the new guys.
They've been great. They've done a fantastic job in the weight room. A lot of what we're doing in this first block while the coaches are gone in January, a lot of it's, speed designed, gaining speed and trying to add strength in the weight room. As we get closer to spring ball, which today was kind of the first part of that, there's a little bit more conditioning that goes into it so that our kids are ready to go out there and compete for 2 hours on the practice field when we get ready here at the end of this month.
Coach, maybe this is a more generic question, but as a quarterback, what is it that you want to see when you put in a tape that maybe Parker had that catches your eye and says, hey, this guy could do it at the next level?
Yeah, I think the first thing you recognize, because you'll see it on the first couple throws, is arm strength. It's the last thing that you probably need as a quarterback. But it's the first thing that you see, I think, when you're evaluating the tape. I think you're looking for accuracy. You're looking for decision-making. You're looking for the ability to escape and make plays with their feet. Doesn't mean that he's got to be Mike Vick as a runner, but I think in today's game you got to have the ability to extend and make plays and be a great distributor of the football. And then as you get to know them, you want to understand, what their mental makeup is. Can they retain and regurgitate information? Can they take information that you give them out in the meeting room? Can they process it quickly and not be perfect in the execution of it when you get out on the field, but be able to recall it but the leadership traits are extremely important. How competitive are they? What's their work ethic? There's so many things that go into that position playing at an elite level. You have to really dive into who and what they are and what their work habits are to find out a makeup of them. You're trying to find out what their heart is, man. I think everyone here, KZ is one of the greatest to play here inside of this program. His heart, as much as anything else, and he's got a ton of skill sets, right? But his heart, I think, is the thing that draws everybody in, and that's true of a lot of guys that are sitting in that QB room right now.
Coach, a couple questions about the defensive backfield. One, you got Emmanuel Appiah out of the JUCO ranks. What did you see from him? What do you like from him?
Great speed, ability to go attack the football and make plays. He's got hands like a wide receiver and extremely confident. You look at just how he plays, play in and play out. I think in part because of his recovery speed. He sees something, he pulls the trigger, and he's aggressive out there in nature. So, with where we're at, just the number of guys we've signed in the last couple of classes in the DB room, felt like he was a great add for us in the defensive backfield.
And relatedly, how is Brandon Moore coming along in his injury?
He's doing really well. He starting to move around with his lower body right now, and feel like he's on track. He's still got hurdles to climb and a bunch of rehab, but he's going to be more and more functional as we get to the back half of spring ball. Won't be in spring ball, but functional in his movement, starting to train at his position, and should have him ready as we get closer to the end of the summer.
Now that this staff has been here a couple of years and developed relationships in this state, and just combined with the success of the program in general, how do you see recruiting kind of taking off, not just this class, but when you look ahead to future classes?
Yeah, great reception. You just talk regionally. Great reception. Obviously, we've talked about it before. Nationally, our brand, our logo is recognized of playing an elite level of college football. And as kids come out here, they get a chance to see that as good as we are on the field, it's even better academically, and what we're going to be able to do for kids long term in their life, just the city we reside in and opportunities. In whatever field that they're interested in as the growth of the city continues. Here, just Atlanta South kind of, areas that we hit consistently. Great reception from the coaches. I think they have a great trust in our communication of where we're at in the evaluation process. We've got an open dialogue with them. Our coaches are in their schools during each recruiting cycle, and I think the more you do that, you develop great trust. You are able to find out the reality of what the kid actually is, besides just what's on the video, and that helps you bring in high-quality kids that are going to be about the right things and continue to build a championship culture. And that's a great thing that is so unique for me here, is that you recruit kids that are from here, they come play in this area. Their families are able to be a part of the college experience. They get a world-class education, and when they're done, they're going to live here. And you're creating a network that's going to empower them the rest of their life. It's what college football should be. There's very few places in the country that are actually, that's the reality of what the college years, their college experience is actually going to create for them.
Josh, now that Dylan's had a year under his belt as a starter last year, what do you want to see out of him going into the spring ball?
Competition from everybody inside of the room. And, I said this when we got here day one, it's true at every position. The best players are going to play. You got to go prove it and earn it every single day. There's growth from everybody inside of that room, understanding what we're doing offensively, understanding defensive alignments and assignments based on what they're playing. And, I think we can progress a lot just in our decision-making, which allows us to get in a better position to be more consistent with the football, give us the ability to check, into the right play, whether that's checking from a pass to a run or vice versa, or checking a protection, understanding heights. It's a game of inches. There's a lot of inches to be made up this time during the offseason before we get on the field in spring ball, but our kids are competing the right way right now in that position room. All right. You guys have a great day.